Hey YouTube, it's been a while since I've done a video. There's a few reasons for that. You might have seen a couple of photos just previously that my previous temporary tent was on the next door neighbour's carport. It's over there. Due to strong winds, the trampoline had perched up there, and yeah, it was a bit of a mess, but you might have also noticed that my arm's in a cast, well, a splint now. And that's because the day I finished uni, the day I finished my last assignment, I took the kids to the skate park and tried my hand at doing some tricks on the skateboard and broke my arm. Broke it in two places, both the bones, ulnar and radius. Yeah, ended up in hospital for a couple of days. Got a bit of metal in there now, and everything's back to square. Still mending. I'm 6 weeks in as of today. I broke it this time 6 weeks ago. Yeah, so I've to protect the Galaxy, I've decided to buy another car tent. This one's a bit bigger. Much bigger, lot sturdy design, as you can see from here. We've got nuts and bolts, trusses, much heavier frame, and it also has sides on this one, so it'll keep the car a little bit more protected. Not a lot has happened with the car. You've seen the previous video where I may have snapped a bolt into the head. I tried to pull that out while the head was in it, and lessons learned there is don't bother. It's just a pain in the butt. I have plans to pull out the heads and go and get the machine, because I do have a suspicion that a couple of valve seats aren't seating properly. But if that is not the case, then it's the actual pistons and rings that are broken, which means I need to maybe have a look at doing a rebuild of the engine, which I'm super excited about. I really want to do that, but you never know. It might just be valve seats. I can just get the heads machined, cleaned up, new seats, stainless steel seats, which would be great because then it'd be unleaded petrol safe. Yeah, get that all cleaned up, get that back in, get the engine running. But in the meantime, I do like the patina of the car. I don't intend to do any fancy work to the car at the moment, but the car does need to get pulled apart, and a lot of it is little dents like this. So pulling the fenders off, there's a little bit of low spot here where I lean over into the car all the time. Needs to be fixed. You might see someone may have jumped on this roof previously, so I'm going to have a go at straightening the roof out and getting that all nice and neat. Then I have a slight impact on the side here. Creases, I've been told, are quite hard to get out of the car, so I'm going to give it a go, see how we can work with it. Use a bit of heat to manipulate the metal, heating and cooling. There's obviously bog and stuff around here that needs to be fixed. I haven't shown you the boot yet, but the boot is full of rust, so that has to be completely removed, and I do actually have a plan for that. And the parts, or the tools, should be coming soon. I mean, the car is in relatively good nick. I'm not going to do too much to the car at the moment, as far as the body's concerned, because I just want to get rust cut out, get the engine up and running, get the brakes on, get the engine running nice. The plan is to just get it on the road as is, driving, so I can enjoy it a little bit. One thing I forgot to show you. Come around here. That is, there we are. A whole chunk of frame rot. I found that out the other day when I was mowing the lawn. Ran the lawnmower underneath there and I felt it give way. Now I have frame rot. So This project, when I first bought it, I was told that engine brakes, radiator, general once over, and it should be good to register, there's no rust. But that rust, I've had this car for nearly 3 years now, and I think that rust was there 3 years ago, but would have been okay 3 years ago, and it's just started to break through. I'm not sure what I can do there. I'm pretty sure that can get fixed. I do have a guy I need to talk to, but he wants to see the frame, so that means the body has to come off. And as you can see, I don't have a garage or a hoist or anything to do that, so I'm gonna have to try and use my engineering ingenuity, which I have none because I'm not an engineer. I'm studying, but not an engineer, and I've never done that before, so I've got to figure something out. But that's all incoming in future episodes. Right now, just thought I'd talk about the new tent, or the new temporary carport. It's not really temporary, it's going to be here for another 3-4 years. That's not the case. Garage in a box for an SUV or truck. It is 13 by 20 foot by 12 foot high, or in proper numbers, 4 meters by 6.1 meters by 3.7 meters. So it's a good size. This one's decent. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to have a bit of room to work and move around in there. As you can see, space is a bit of a constraint. I've got the car up on jacks. I could probably put it down on jacks and roll it back and do my thing and then roll it forward, but it's a pain in the ass. So I'm trying to work from right at the front of the car all the way up, halfway up the stairs. That isn't ideal. That's me being very bloody lazy. But so far so good. If I need to change things, I will jack this down. And I'll move it back. But for now, keep enjoying the show. I'm going to be here for a while. So the first step was to lay out each of the corner pieces of the frame, making sure that they all are oriented in the right direction and the right pieces are in the right place. After that, it was the major sections of the frame, so the long pieces between those points, just so we can start to place them together and put them together. I had my little son there helping me out. It's pretty cool. Next was starting to combine the pieces that have been laid out. So working from the top down of the frame, so working on the roof section, the center spline, I guess, and bolting those pieces together. One of the things that I did make sure that I did was when I put the bolts through, I put the bolt head facing out towards the outside of the frame. So the piece left over was, once you've bolted it together, was facing on the inside. Right here I wasn't doing that, but as I started to think about it, when I put the canvas over the top, it was going to rip through it. So I went through and changed that. And that was one important piece that I didn't do right at the start, but I did rectify that later on. So for each section, all the bolts that are at the corners, all the bolts were facing into the car tent rather than facing out into the canvas. So once everything was bolted together through the main section, started the process of lifting each piece up and adding the additional extensions. Here I had my son helping me, which is helpful because I
didn't really have the use of my left arm, but he did a great job. It was really helpful. That shows just how easy it is. Here's me being persistent and probably pig-headed because I can't help myself and can't wait for someone to help me. So then I kept adding the pieces of the frame to the bottom of the existing structure, and once I got to a point, I could then walk it over the top of the car before I actually put the canvas over and added the additional frame pieces. This meant that I could put it in place and get it ready before I actually finished off the frame and covered the car. So the next morning was getting ready to put the canvas over the top. This was a little bit more challenging with one arm, and again, just stubborn as I just can't help myself. I just had to get it done. So I got the ladder out and I started pulling things together and just seeing how it would work. And then the day after that, I actually made an effort to get it done. So it does say in the instructions to put the front and rear pieces on first, because then the main canvas piece will fold over the top of that and then ratchet down, which you'll see here soon. So this is the front canvas going on here. To get the main canvas over the tent, I actually tied it with some rope and threw the ropes over, then pulled it over. You'll see here in a second they get ratcheted down.
Alrighty, so I'm pretty much done. If you look up here, the thing we're after is to try and get that lip all the way over. That has the webbing in it, so that holds it down. I'm not sure if I captured it very well before, but I noticed that I was constantly having the webbing slip back over. So, oh sorry, not the webbing, that lip slip over. So it was causing some, well, it was tightening, but not the right way. So it was causing a little bit of an issue. But we got it sorted out. Now we just got this one. I've got the ratchet straps on both sides, but for now, whoops, they're not tight. So just out of curiosity, make sure things stay the way they're meant to. Tighten this out. And this side. In the instructions, it didn't really say how tight all this should be. It just said tighten, which I'm gonna assume doesn't mean so tight that you can't, that it breaks it, or it tears through, because you get some leverage on this, and it's relying on this elbow here. So this elbow right here. So if you tighten it too much, all it's going to do is start pulling this up. Really, this is pretty tight and taut now. So if you have a look, we're all tight and taut. Give it a good pull. We're pretty comfortable. And I've got a monkey on my back. Say hi. Hi, monkey.
Hi, monkey.
All right, hop down.
Can I have a turn?
You can hold the light for me.
Yeah.
Because now we're going to go inside and have a look on the inside. Because we're pretty much done. This is our new car tent. This is the movie car tent. Is it pretty good?
Yeah.
I think some of these ratchet straps need to be tightened up a bit, but for now, I think we're good. We can tighten up that bit of rope.
Daddy, get something to squash it.
It's an ant, that's alright.
He doesn't even
Alright, so it's late. I'm gonna have to call it quits here, but one of the things I was thinking about doing is putting a few shelves up high, some rafters to keep for some storage space. One of the main pieces of repair work I have to do to the car is the frame, so I'm gonna have to find some imaginative way of lifting the body off the frame in a backyard without a proper shed. I've got some ideas about that, and I'll explain them when it's time, but really, this, let me just tip that up. This will give me enough room. So this will give me enough room to lift the car up and get the chassis off. I can put some storage up there for the bonnet and boot and stuff. For the money paid, it is fantastic. Fully enclosed. Really not going to get any weather on the car at all in any direction. The car, the whole thing's heavy enough to handle some pretty heavy wind. I do have some spikes that I'm going to put into each of the legs, so it'll be all nailed down. And the final piece of work is to put these cross members in this here. So I'll get to that, see how I go, and from there, yeah. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the build of the car tent. The build of the car tent. I forgot the name of the brand. I'll put it in the description. Pretty happy with it. For a one-armed bloke, for most of the build. So this is taking me about 3 weeks to do, and 3 weeks ago I was about 4 weeks into the recovery of my broken arm, so I did most of the build one-handed. I did have some helpers. The helpers did help, they were really good. But all in all, this is not a hard build at all. It just takes a little bit of time and patience and making sure that you move along. One thing I did want to make sure was things like this up in here, this bolt. The head is on the inside, so I didn't tear through. I'm assuming this side is going to be fluttering a lot, so it won't rip, but you'll notice here there's a little bit of interference here as well as there, and it actually goes all the way around. So it might be worthwhile getting some little caps. Excuse me, don't push on it like that, please. Right, yeah, so last night had a good run. We got the roof on, got the front and rear doors on, but having a look around this morning, this afternoon actually, I've been noticing a few things that need to be addressed. One is I haven't tightened these enough, I don't think. And on the outside here, this one is tight, but it's in the wrong hole. It actually should be here, so I'll go ahead and resolve that now. And also you can see the wind starting to blow a little bit, which means we need to get the rails are going inside. That needs to be done immediately. There we are, just like that. That hole there. I'll do that. Must admit, I'm pretty impressed with the design all up. It's definitely big enough. It's massive. Pretty easy to put together. The instructions generally were good, but there was a little bit of ambiguity here and there about what the best way to construct this was. But all in all, like, if you just take your time, it's really not that hard. Obviously I keep bragging about the fact that I've done it with one hand. Obviously I've been like highlighting the fact that I have done this mostly with one hand. I can hold stuff but not really put a lot of weight on it. But it really it's a fairly easy setup. So I'm just noticing one thing that I do need to do, which I haven't done, and that is actually put the stakes in for these here. You'll notice this is quite loose. This here is quite loose. So like if you take it back and see the wind, that is because as I keep tightening this, it's pulling the base in further and further. So yeah, a couple of things I need to do. So let's go and get the rest of the bits and pieces. Six of these. Interesting. Right. Couple of extra pieces of metal, some rope, some hooks and clamps, right, and some more instructions. So when you're doing this, there's a difference between the front and back for the canopy that goes over the top. The front, which is where your zipped cover is, has to line up with the eyelets. So there's eyelets in the top of the canopy that goes over the top. I was wondering where, because the photos did show that there was a mechanisms for this. I was kind of wondering where that actually was, and it's in this box. So let's get that on, because that means we be able to draw the front cover up and down. So cool. For this, they reckon it's about 30 minutes. Need 2 people, and it's also saying that we need to have a drill. When you can't find a hole punch, screwdriver. Rightio. Just in there, a bit more of a stealthy look, but should work. So, not sure how this is going to work. I'm pretty sure it'll work alright. I'm basically just going to hitch around the bar and do a little bow line. So I have a little loop to hook this in, but a hitch to hold it steady. So might need maybe 2 foot of rope, and we'll see how this goes.
Right, so once I got the door all set up and installed, I went on to fix up my mistake here at the side. So basically just undoing each of the bolts and each of those cross members at the bottom section and feeding them through the the flat there that they have set up for it. So yeah, just had to follow it right around and do each of the bars again, which was a little bit harder to do once the piece is all in place.
I think there's a lesson to be learned on this. Don't do these first. Wait until you've got this on before you do the cross section. Alright, I just want to point out that usually when you do this kind of stuff where you assemble and disassemble like these kind of pop-up structures, they assemble okay, but then they don't disassemble and reassemble very well. So far, each of the holes that I've taken out here and here have lined up perfectly. I haven't had any faults with it whatsoever. Obviously there's like a little bit of play, or they're not perfect, but for a mass-produced item, for something that's produced for each part to be as generic as possible, it's pretty damn good. Like, this thing is going together quite well for the money you pay for it. You kind of expect some quality, but normally you don't get it. So, well, you don't always get it, right? But this is good. I approve so far. I'm really happy. Once these bars are on, this is much tighter. The weight to lift this up is a lot heavier than the other one. We're gonna have no troubles with this. We're expecting cyclone weather this weekend, strong winds, etc., etc. I don't think we'll have any problems. I am going to put those augers in, but yeah, we should be good. Actually, one of the biggest challenges I think I've had just putting this together is the complete lack of feeling I have in having these three fingers. These two fingers are usually the ones I manage the nuts while I hold the bolt in these hands. Just a small thing, but it's quite surprising just how much of a pain in the butt it actually is. But that's all in now. You can see these move a little bit, so I'm going to get some spikes and some pegs and stick them in. Just up here is a little bit tight, and that is either because I've got the whole canopy shifted too far to the back or front, but I mean, it still fits quite well. A little bit of air coming through, but that's okay. Really not a bad thing. Yeah, maybe 10 minutes, actually 20 minutes all up to get that side done. So I'll do this side and we will jump on the front door mechanisms.